It is grape time, everybody. I was sent a box full of grapes, and these are not the sort of grapes that you're gonna get at the supermarket. These are specially crafted, bred grapes that are gonna have, I'm sure, very interesting flavors to them, because people who breed grapes, great people, they are like mad scientists, okay? They take qualities from grapes and they like grow the seeds and they make other grapes, and like they end up coming up with some really interesting flavors, sometimes weird shapes. There's a lot of weird things you could talk about with grapes. And I was given this opportunity by Mark. So Mark, thank you very much. Mark doesn't have a website to put on the screen, but he did want to give a shout out to the CRFG. So I'll put that on the screen. That is the California Rare Fruit Growers Organization. And yeah, so let's hop into it. So first I have this little Tupperware here that has two different grape varieties in it. One is called Everest, one is called Reliance. I'm not sure which is which, but Mark did give me a little handy cheat sheet of what these are supposed to taste like. So I'm going to start with this one here. I'm not sure if this is the Reliance or the Everest, but he said that the Everest has the texture of a toasted marshmallow. So let's see if it has that texture. I think this is the Everest because that texture is very, very soft. It is juicy. I wouldn't say marshmallow just because, you know, marshmallows are not exactly a juicy thing, but it actually has the flavor of a marshmallow a bit. It's like very, very sweet and almost like a little bit creamy in flavor. I'd say the sweetness on that is like it's pretty close to sugar. I'd call that a 9. Just like a little hint of tartness to it. That's a quality grape right there. That's you got a nice texture and a nice flavor. So I'm gonna assume that is the Everest, and yeah, Everest, that is a good one. Next, I have this one. This is a Reliance, I believe. That one, also very good. That reminds me of, what are they called? Muscadine grapes. It's got a nice, strong grape flavor, a thick skin to it also. It's not quite as sweet as the Everest, but it's pretty sweet. I'd say it's like an 8 out of 10. And very succulent. Next, we have this one here. I believe this one is the Glenora. I say believe because the label on this one fell off. But by the process of elimination, I think this is the Glenora. He said that this one is spicy and kind of like a blueberry. That one's really good. And I can see what he means by it being spicy. It's not spicy as in heat, it is spicy as in like cinnamon, something like that. And there's something very perfumey about it. It doesn't just get your tongue when you eat it, it's very flavorful. It's definitely getting your tongue, but it's also getting my nose a little bit. I wouldn't say it's necessarily floral, but it is kind of like getting me like in the nasal passage. Interesting. It's interesting. And I do get like a bit of a blueberry flavor. That's not the first thing that comes to mind when I eat that, because there's so many kind of like bizarre things with it. But yeah, great flavor, a bit of a berry flavor, a perfume kind of element to it, and a little bit of like a cinnamon spice sort of flavor. Next, we have the Joy. So this one looks similar to the last one, but it's a different breed, so let's see if it tastes similar. No, not at all. It tastes like a sour grape popsicle. You know how grape popsicles have like that grape flavor in it that's not really grape, it's like, you know, grape flavoring? This tastes like grape flavoring, which is weird because I've never had a grape that tastes like grape flavoring before. So yeah, and the tartness is also unique. You know, the other ones that I've had a small register, like a 1 or a 2. This one's up there. It's not super high, but it is up there. I'd say it's maybe like a 4, almost approaching like the tartness of an orange. And the sweetness is like the sweetness of an apple. It's not terribly sweet, but it is very powerful. Next, we have the Jupiter. Mark's description of what this tastes like was ethereal. So let's see what that tastes like. Yeah, ethereal is a good description for that because I can't really even don't know how to say this what this tastes like. It's like eating a cloud or something. Because when you eat this, although like the sweetness is like on your tongue and it's very sweet. This is like 9 out of 10 on sweetness. But the flavoring is almost entirely like aftertaste. Like the initial flavor is just like sugar, and then it's like, whoa, okay, there it is. It almost feels like that flavor is like emanating outwards just because it doesn't really get you at first. So ethereal is maybe a good way to describe that sort of bizarre sensation. This one is called the Compassion. He said the texture is really crunchy on it, but the jury is still out on flavor. So I'll take the task. Let's see what this one tastes like. Even after being picked like a few days ago, this has a nice satisfying texture to it. I can see this one being good at a supermarket just because I think that integrity is probably going to last long on the shelf. The flavor of the Compassion reminds me of the Joy grape. It's like grape flavoring flavored. The appearance of this one makes me think that it's going to taste like very light, like a green grape. But it actually does not taste like that. It tastes like something I would associate with being like a dark purple color. Like a strong grape flavoring sort of flavor. And it's got a little bit of like an apple kind of aftertaste. Like a little bit of like a Granny Smith apple. I like that. The texture with those flavors combined, that definitely goes high up on my list. Next we've got the New York Muscat. This is the only one that has seeds. Interesting. This one, it kind of feels like a little bit of everything that I just had. It's got a touch of like that grape flavoring sort of flavor. It's got a touch of the spiciness, a touch of like a cotton candy sort of flavor. It's got all that in there. A bit of like that perfumey kind of thing. It's very sweet. I would give this one an 8. A little bit of tartness to it, but not a lot, maybe like a 2. The texture of it is very, very succulent. It like just melts in your mouth when you eat it, but it's got a tough skin on it. So it kind of like melts in your mouth and you end up chewing on the skin. It's not a bad thing, but it gives you kind of like 2 phases of like the texture and the flavor too, because the skin tastes different than the inside. So I'm going to give my 3 favorites out of these. Third place goes to the Everest, or what I believe is the Everest. This one has a nice soft texture, a nice strong flavor. They also look cool. They've got a nice round shape to them, a nice color to them. Yeah, definitely a really, really good one. I've attracted my cat, and I'm keeping an eye on her because here's a little PSA for all the cat owners out there, and dog owners. Grapes are poisonous to your pets, so don't let your pets eat grapes. My cat is not interested in the grapes, she just wants to sit on my lap, so I think we're okay here, but be careful, guys. Second place goes to the Compassion. This one was kind of like neck and neck with the Joy because I think they have like a similar flavor. But what I like about the Compassion that the Joy does not have as much is that texture. It's got a nice crunchy texture. And first place goes to the Glenora. The texture's nice and soft. The flavor is really strong. It's got so much complexity to it. It's got like that kind of perfumey note where it kind of gets you in the nose. It's got a little berry flavor, a little bit of a spiciness. That one is my number one, mostly because it's really odd. It's an odd one, but in a good way. And that usually ends up being the kind of thing that I like. But all of these really, really good, really, really unique, and they are all far better than anything that you would get at a supermarket. So yeah, these are not something that's easy to find, but who knows, maybe word will catch on and you might find this at a farmer's market or maybe the supermarket. So keep an eye out for them. So I think that's about it. I will see you all next time. I would like to give a very big shout out to AltPod and Smarter Every Day. They are mega patrons over on patreon.com. Patreon is how I manage to keep this channel going, so if you enjoy what I've been doing, take a look at the link in the description below. I also sell t-shirts. This is one of them. This is the Mandrake Root shirt, which is available on my website. Link to that in the description as well. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.